The United States withdrew from the protocol and as of 2005 has rejected the treaty.
In the coming decades, say the next 100 years, the ocean's level is going to rise because the world is getting warmer. The ice at the North and South poles will melt, but it's interesting to note that as ice at the Arctic melts, well, that water won't make the ocean's level go up because that ice is floating. It displaces as much water as it weighs.
Ice is unique. As water freezes, its molecules slow down, and it doesn't sink. See, when it's a few degrees above freezing, its hydrogen bonds drive its molecules into what's called an open lattice crystal. The molecules spread out. Ice is less dense than liquid water, so it floats. That's why you don't see ice at the bottom of a lake, and icebergs float on the surface of the sea, where ships can run into them.
But as ice in glaciers, say in Glacier National Park, and in big ice sheets like in Antarctica melts, well, that water will flow into the sea and make the oceans come up. But a much bigger effect than melting ice is thermal expansion.
Expansion of the ocean due to heat. Water is just like anything else. It's made of molecules, and the molecules are always moving. The warmer water is, the faster its molecules move. Faster molecules push each other apart, just like the liquid in a thermometer. Expanding liquid water is going to overrun a lot of icy drinks on warm beaches.
You see, as the ocean gets warmer, it's going to expand as much as, say, 50 centimeters. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but 50 centimeters of ocean level rise translates into 50 meters of lost shoreline. If it goes up a meter, we lose 100 meters of shoreline. So that's like, bye-bye, bayous, Seychelles, sayonara. So long, Maldives. Bangladesh, you're going to take another one on the chin. Ciao, Venice. It's been said that the tide waits for no one, and that's true. But soon, the ocean may not wait for whole island nations full of people. And we'll no longer have to go down to the sea because the sea will be coming up to us. See, it's not just that the world is getting warmer. It's the rapid rate at which it's getting warmer. Many species are not going to have enough time to adapt. Only the versatile ones are going to survive, like cockroaches. Already we're seeing migrations of animals away from the equator toward the poles, where it's cooler.
Africa, it's hot, and the desert is moving toward us. You know how we know? The springbok. They're animals that are moving south to get away from the heat. It's global climate change, my friends. It's happening everywhere.
In the United States, Americans generate over 6.5 tons of carbon per person, mostly by driving and making electricity. Now, if you choose an efficient car and conserve electricity, you can cut your own emissions down to almost 1/3 of the national average. Now, that's what we each can do. But what should we all do globally? It's a big question. So joining us today is Dr. Jay Edmonds. Now, if I understand it, it sure looks to me like the amount of carbon in the world, its atmosphere is just going up and up and up because we continue to burn fossil fuels, right? Now, we're not going to run out of fossil fuels.
That's exactly right. It's one of the great myths that we're on the verge of running out of fossil fuels. And it's continued for a long period of time. That myth has tremendous resilience.
Now,
it's not true.
Now, why do you say that?
Because the resources of fossil fuels are very abundant. Conventional oil and gas is relatively limited, but we've had tremendous ability to take what are called unconventional resources of oil and gas, and through technology, move them from the unconventional category into the conventional.
Still, you're going to end up with some chemical reaction that puts carbon in the atmosphere.
Correct. Therein lies the issue.
So what we need to do is find a way to charge people, to charge us, ourselves, for carbon, right? If carbon had a cost, then people would have an economic incentive to do something about it.
Eventually, if carbon takes on a value, people are going to shift away from freely putting carbon into the atmosphere. They'll go to the conservation. They'll go to the capture and disposal. They'll go to things like fuel cells. They'll go to things like biotechnology, growing plants explicitly for their energy content, or possibly even taking the advances in the biological sciences and using biological mechanisms to take water and turn it into hydrogen and oxygen.
What if we don't do this stuff? What if we don't change our policies? What's going to happen?
Well, the prospect is that there's nothing that will limit the cumulative emission globally of carbon to the atmosphere.
So you would say this is an important thing to be doing?
This is very important. Those technologies need to be developed. They need to be brought from the drawing boards into reality, or we need to know that you can't do that at the same time as we don't forget those things which got us to where we are today, like the energy conservation, like the solar, like the wind, like the nuclear power, like the non-emitting technologies we already have in our portfolio.
That's great, Doctor. Thanks very much for coming by.
Thank you.
I know what you're saying. You're saying, hey, Bill, Nye, Mr. Science Guy, the world's getting warmer, so what? I mean, the CO2 is already in the air. The world is warming, our goose is cooking, the horse is out of the barn. What's to be done about it? What could I possibly do about global warming? The strange thing about global climate change is that every single thing each and every one of us does affects everybody all over the world, because you see, it's one global ecosystem. Okay, there's no getting out, not for any of us. So tell you what, use less energy, drive less, maybe drive less inefficient cars, turn out the lights. You could, with every one of your decisions, dare I say it, change the world. I hope you'll think about it. And I'll see you next time on The Eyes of Nye.
And the main thing is, yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. Check out eyesofnye.org for more cool science.